So, like I said earlier, I usually sit up here and I talk passionately about the people that I admire and I love, and then I get lost in it a little bit, and sometimes I can miss details. So I'm gonna allow everybody that's on the panel some time to introduce themselves. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So we're gonna start, you know what I'm saying, to my right, you know, the incredible, the sensational.
Right.
I can't help it though. Like, I'm a fan first, you know what I'm saying? I get lost in the fan and I miss some details. You didn't even say their name. I'm like, oh, they're just the most incredible people. The most inspiring, most legendary. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna pass the mic. I'm gonna let y'all.
You get my work?
Check. Is it good? I can use this. I know you all are probably wondering why they're dressed like school teachers.
Because they are.
Because we are school teachers.
All right.
Shout out to the educators.
Yes. So we just came back from, we had our first 2 days of middle school and high school. Normally we'll be in our baggy attire, but can't do that with kids. Start looking at you differently. Especially the parents, the parents show up and they're just like, oh, that's your deans of discipline and your dance teacher? Why aren't they in suits or something on the first 2 days? So we just try to give them something different, to inspire by and, get our kids to see us in different outfits and different things like that. And that's, for us, that's just a part of who we are, part of hip-hop. Hip-hop is clothing too. People always underestimate the clothing part of hip-hop, the fashion, how you walk, how you talk, all that comes together. And we're blessed to be celebrating our 43rd year this year. So we started in 1979. And I was speaking to Stackz earlier, and I'll make it brief because I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak a little bit. But our first competition was with Curtis Blow in 1979. And when I said that to a few people before, they had no idea who Curtis Blow was. It's not good. It's really not good. It's almost as equal as if you're doing a ballet workshop and someone says, Misty Copeland, and everyone look around like and say, who's that? These things are important in hip hop, and a lot of times with our heroes, and Curtis Blow was a hero, and all different and dancers and different things. We don't teach that part. The workshop is extremely important. The movement is extremely important, but like the history of where this street dance comes from is so important, especially today. Because people are taking it and they're doing whatever they want with it. I'm never going to be a fan of that. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to be a fan of that. I think in our culture we need to teach it all. We need to teach it all. And it's not just, since we've been doing it for so long, we learn too. I first saw, when we went to the room, I saw Rashaad and he corrected it too, which was dope. It was in 2008, but he said no, 2007. I first saw Monster Pop on the video years ago. And I showed Bobby the video and I said, let's see this dude pop, man. At one point, we didn't even know, we made it to Megatron in 2007 before Unity and Respect, which you should have won. I don't know if you should have won that battle, but we'll talk about that later. And Tron was like, yo, I need y'all to come out to see this battle. I'm doing this battle. Me and Shah was running this battle. We have all these different people here, and he was naming all these people that was going to be in the battle. We didn't even know people were popping. Because everything wasn't on, you couldn't just do this and see a whole bunch. Everything was, I didn't even know how big popping was. In Boston, popping was huge, but everyone was separate. Everyone was over here. In the 80s, I swear I wish I could just go like this and we can just all go back. 80s. Not because it was better, but everything was so honest. It was so honest and so pure to see so many people popping and locking. The street of fashion came about way back then. But the culture has to grow. In order for the culture to grow, it has to be information shared. We can't stay with the culture. We spend most of our time studying people way older and on a whole different level. To us, they're on a whole different level. And maybe to other people, they're not a big deal because they don't have 1 million followers. But to us, they're a big deal. They're a huge deal. The first person we saw do the robot when we was in the Grover Cleveland School was not even grade, but elementary school. We was, I won't say the year. But it was like the third grade. I'm funny sometimes with that. It's like in the third grade. Seeing someone do the robot in the third grade and not knowing what that is before Michael Jackson. I think a lot of times people think Michael Jackson is the creator of everything, and I'm the biggest Michael Jackson fan. But this, a lot of this stuff is pre all of this. So we're blessed. We're blessed to be doing this for 43 years. We have to find a new inspiration every single year. And sometimes it's not dance. Sometimes it's ballet, sometimes it's tap. It's from every different area. Sometimes it's acting. So our thing is finding different ways to grow as artists. And we don't feel like we have to be the best at anything. We just have to be honest in what we do. We're not doing anything just to do it. Everything has to be pure, it has to be honest, whether we like it, whether the audience likes it or not. It just has to come from an honest place. So we appreciate any support that we get. We don't have a bunch of followers. The kid was making fun of me in school. Mr. McLean, I don't know the last name is McLean. Mr. McLean, everybody said you all are this and that. I got more followers than you. And the thing is, he did. He probably had like 16,000 followers. I just don't know what he does to get that many followers. But that part's not important. It's why you do things that's important to us. So, love the dance, love the culture, grow, learn from everyone that you get a chance to learn from. Monster Club's class, all those things are technical. People can't just, he's teaching you how to move your hips. At the same time, you move your chest, you're waving down, you're popping, you're doing all that stuff. It's not easy to do. So take the classes serious and take more workshops and love what you do.
Yeah.
Wow. So we started real strong. 0 to 60. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
I'll start with my name. So my name is Rashaad Hassani. I'm originally from New York, but I live in the DMV area. Specifically, I live in Maryland. I'm the creative director of Soulmatic. We're about designing movement, designing clothes, designing visuals. I'm an educator. I teach at UMBC. I teach at Fonte's Performing Arts in Holland. Been lecturing for about 4 years on Black history, specifically music and dance. Been doing this thing for a while. I'm not going to give a lot of dates right now, but if you ask, I'll let you know. It hasn't been 43 years yet. I will be 40 this year, though. A couple months, so that's exciting. What else? My voice is everywhere, so puberty hit. Just let you know. But I had a long week of work prior to this, so. But yeah, that's all I got to say right now.
I'm going to start with, I feel very humbled and honored to be sitting on this panel right now. These are all people I greatly look up to. So thank you for having me. My name is Randi Freitas, Rascal Randi. They learned my government name yesterday. I blame Emerson, security, but I'm from the Bay Area originally. I live in Los Angeles now. I'm the founder of Omega Floorwork, an online training program that specifically, it's open to all, but it specifically holds space for women and female identifying people to feel comfortable getting down on the floor and strengthening in that area. I started training a style when I got into breaking, and then dabbled in a few other things, and also worked commercially in Los Angeles, and saw all the horrors that come along with that, and now exiting that world, and figuring out what I want to do with my life from here forward.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Again, thank you, Stackz, for having me. Really honored and appreciate being in this space. My name is Andy Yased, also known as Haya, or formerly known as Master Pop. I'm a artistic director and general director / founder of Joe Festival International Street Dance, which is a festival that celebrates a lot street dance, but also puts it in a 360 experience, meaning more than dance, also what else can we do to celebrate together and be in a space of celebration. A multidisciplinary artist and a leader in my local scene, and specifically Montreal, so I'm from Montreal, Canada, the French part of Canada. And also, I have a clothing line called Cake, which is with J Style, and a partner of mine called also Andy. And yeah, popper, dancer, culture, multidisciplinary artist. Yeah. Y'all be so humble when y'all be speaking about yourself. It's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just, coach, I do like a little something in my local community. It's like, these are globally celebrated artists. Trailblazers, innovators, storytellers, entrepreneurs, fathers, like the list goes on. Like, hey, come on, we got more mics here. Yeah. But like they always say, like I personally look up to all of these people, and I think that I really do feel like it's important for us to study the blueprint, and in this space and time that we're existing in right now, it can get a little bit hazy. There's a lot of bells and whistles to distract us from what this thing is really about, which is why I started to host panel discussions as a part of Stackin Stylez Freestyle Dance Festival. And we started super humble, actually, in my living room, and I would invite OGs and innovators to sit on my couch, and the dance community could come and sit on the floor, and we just share stories. We have conversations back and forth. It's not just like, but I just want to emphasize how important it is to listen. I had a conversation with Billy, last night, and just in the 20 minutes of listening, I felt like I learned so much. I got so much perspective, especially as I'm moving out here as a younger entrepreneur, creator, cultural, the whole nine. So I want to just jump back in, jump back into this conversation and allow you to talk a little bit more about your story, because usually I do like a pre-interview and I try to come up with specific questions to bring certain things to light, but when he was talking, I just listen. I was just like, yo, I don't even want to say anything, because y'all story is just incredible. It's an incredible story that I feel like needs to be upheld as an example. For all the young people out there, especially the young black kids. You know what I'm saying? That you know, come from neighborhoods where it's easy for us to get distracted, you know? So I'll let y'all jump back in and you can talk a little bit more about Hollywood Talent Nights. You can talk about, you know, your involvement, like your how you coached a lot of artists, you know, and were a part of their story. And you know, I appreciated when you talked about, you know, bumping into, you know, was it Gregory Hines? Maurice Hines, yeah. And doing Apollo. Yeah. So I don't want to, you know, I'll let y'all do y'all thing.
Well, let me transfer some information to you.
I got it. So, wow. You all know Wendy Williams is? Mm-hmm. So, believe it's him. You might have to correct me about it. Because we're getting older, so we tend to forget things. We did a show at a place called Franklin Field. You know Roxbury, Franklin Field.
Yeah.
They had these events called the Kite Festival. Kite Festival was a talent show. Back then, it was, you could easily have 3,000 to 4,000 people in the park competing, dancing and singing. I mean, we're like 10 years old and 9 years old. Everything was about the performance. Everything was about the show. And one thing my mother's from Alabama. She was a dancer in Alabama. She said, make sure that the people older than you are proud. She was talking about senior citizens and different things like that. Make sure your people are proud of you. So when we think about performance all the time, that's the first thing in our mind, is to make the people that you're performing for proud. So way back then, we were walking in, you know, we had these shoes called boats. I don't know what they call them now. I guess they call them vans. I think they're vans. We call them boats. They had to be as white as possible. Could not get them dirty, man. We walked with plastic on our feet, like on our shoe. We could not get them dirty. We had to wear white gloves. It was very important. All these little details were so important. Remember, we're only 9 years old. And our mother's like, do what you have to do. Our big brother's taking us to this event. We did this event called the Kite Festival. And if you know singing, I say this to students sometimes, and they're just like, oh, I think I know what that is. And I say, you know, New Edition. Boston is dance, but we had so many singing groups back in the day, like singing groups. We did all these shows. And you know, New Edition were dance. They're singers, but they wanted to dance. They wanted to dance. You know, Bobby Brown auditioned for our group when we was all 10 years old. So everyone wants to dance. That's why we love dancing. Everyone wanted to dance. So we won this talent show back then. New Edition was in it. Wendy Williams was the host, but she was at Northeastern at the time. So she was the host. That was the beginning of everything for us. That was the beginning of everything. We knew at that moment we're probably going to be dancing forever. If we stay focused, we can dance forever. Maybe not at the level that we're dancing now, but we still can dance. I see us dancing in 20 years. It might even look nicer in 20 years to be able to, oh my goodness.
Gray hair?
Gray hair? That's good. When we started, it's tough when I think about it, because sometimes when you think about, you know, when you're a performer, sometimes you think about the end of it. Is there ever going to be an end to what you do? So when we started, we really didn't see an end. We didn't see an end. We just saw that we were going to be performing for people forever. And we joined the first street dance group in Boston in 1980. They were called the Funk Effects. It was around 10 of us. But before us, this is the history that I always say that's really important. Before us, they started before us. So sometimes we get the credit for the Funk Effects, but the Funk Effects in Boston was 1973. We joined in 80. We joined in 80, so they were doing things in 1973, which is crazy. It's crazy. And this is before the VHS. This is before knowing that people in LA are doing the same thing. There's people in New York doing the same thing, in Maryland, and Canada. This is before all that. So we don't know what anyone's doing. All we knew what was happening is what we were doing and what we were doing for our community. And with dance, our community protected us from a lot of different things. Like we had the games, like everyone does. But the games were at the shows. When there was a block party, and you talked to Megatron to talk about this too. When there was a block party, and they saw me and my brother coming in there, it was a normal thing for them to say, "Yo, twins, y'all can't go in there," and like push us away. This is I'm talking when we were 11 years old, 11 and 12 years old. They would push us away. They knew what we wanted to do, and they knew what they were doing, but they also protected the community. And I think, as we get older, I'm about protecting the dance. If you notice, everyone does something with children. Everyone's doing something. Everyone's taking what they have and they're putting it back in the community. That's the only possible way the kids will value it. If we don't do that, and I'm talking we, not just us, we don't do that, then they suffer. In the story that Stackz was talking about earlier, we don't know who sees. You never know who sees what you do. You never know. There was a show called Talent America, which is now called America's Got Talent, and they still won't give credit to that, the producer of that show. It's Talent America. It's around 100 and something artists in it from different cities. We were lucky enough to do that show and take first place. And the judge was MC Lyte, Kumo D, Gina Russell, and Queen Latifah was the. So after that, we did Good Day New York with MC Lyte, and this is like 1989. We're going forward to 1989. Someone saw us on that and said, "You all should audition for the Apollo." All right, we'll stay an extra 2 days in New York. We'll be in Long Island. We slept on the floor, no food. I'm still mad at Robbie. Scratch that out if you record it. I don't want Robbie to know, but never fed us, but we stop. We went up there, they talk about the Apollo as like this cold place to perform at. It's way worse than a cold place. And when you're from Boston, they think everything about you is Larry Bird. Everything's Larry Bird.
That's crazy.
So we getting cussed out. I loved it. It was beautiful. Cussing us out. We do our thing. We get the win. We get the win. And we won that I think 6 times. But that's a good part of it, but it's not really the most important part of it. Because sometimes you have to be humbled by people before you. We were crazy. We were lucky enough to do the Apollo 16 times. But there are artists who, the Hines brothers did it 127 times. So we can't brag about 16 times. Period. The Nicholas brothers, I think they did it for a straight, almost a year. So the Hines brothers can't brag about how many times they did it.
We definitely can't brag.
We're not right. We are the lowest of the brothers. And guess what? We're cool with it. You look up to people, you're honored to be in the same space as them. You just have to be honored to be in the same space as them. We've done shows, we've done events that we perform with dancers who are. You could be great at what you do, but still have a poor spirit. And I don't mean a poor financial spirit. Just a spirit that's really, really cold. And then we look at you, we go, ugh, come on, man. Don't do that. Like the spirit can easily change your dance. The spirit can change the way you look at the song, the way you approach the song, the spirit. The The spirit. When we go and we watch these different, we listen to Judith Jamison, who came to our show at the Apollo when we did with Maurice Hines. And we sat and we listened to, we didn't ask her about dance. We just wanted to listen to her. I wanted to hear I wanted to hear what her inspiration is. I need to hear that. This is the only way that we can keep doing this. And even if we stop doing it, it's the only way that we can share the information. The information only gets, you become better as a mover, as a performer, as a dancer, when you have there's a spirit that you're missing. I don't think my spirit is the same spirit that Rashaad has. I don't mean it in that way. I mean a personal spirit. Rashaad knows his spirit. Like, you have to know your spirit. You have to know what drives you as a person. I don't think it's just a dancer. I think there's a human element that sometimes we forget that we need as the dancer. So when someone is teaching you, Master Pop is teaching a workshop, he's teaching you the proper way to do it has to come from a place. If he was arrogant, he would just be doing it. He wouldn't stop and watch the way that you do it in your approach and say, no. And we've seen that before. We've seen dancers teach. The only thing that's important is for the people taking the class to say, you're great. So you're great. That can't be the way to teach. The greatness comes from the greatness comes from you being able to give them something that they've never had before. We just did, we were blessed, like this, and I'm not bragging, this is a blessing when I say this. This has nothing to do with, this is not ego tripping. This is not, I was just wiping a 6th grader's boogies up there, so I have no ego in me at all. Who misses mother, huh? I'm wiping boogies up. I have none of that ego. None of it. So we were blessed we had our first off-Broadway show, performance, 2 weeks ago. So they're calling us every night. Twins, you only got 2 people coming to your show. Every night. Our dream is to bring a show to Broadway. I don't care if the club is as small as this space right here, but it's a dream. Since we were little, we watched people. Well, that's what I want to do. And we want to bring hip hop and street dance and pop it and lock it to a place that they've never kind of seen it before, because they think Hamilton is Hamilton is not. Hamilton is a great play, but it's not hip hop. It's just a great play. All the way, we're waiting for 5 months. They're telling us every single day you only have 2 people coming to the show. 3 days before the show. Now you have 3 people. What happens on Monday? If you don't get more people than this, I don't think you should do it. Bobby said, I don't care what you say.
We're doing this. We got a 2-hour show.
We got a 2-hour show.
We want to see this.
2 people are going to watch this show. We're not going to not do it because for those 2 people, this is important for them. Mm-hmm. Like we can actually focus on 2 people and do a show. We're going to do it. We're going to do the show. The next day, I don't know what happened, and they end up saying you have 65 people coming to your show. Mm-hmm. And of course we're elated, waiting for 20 years to finally get 1 show. And we can only do that 1 show, we're good. We're good. We reached the goal that we always wanted to reach. We're good. Put it on the list. Sleep on that. Recognize what you do sometimes. Sometimes, when you're doing a lot of different things, you don't sit back and say, okay, can I have a moment to be proud of what I've done?
Yes.
Can I have a moment of can I just have that moment? So we're sitting on that moment today to be proud of that. We don't have to be, but we're going to be, because that's a goal. It's the same way we look at dance. It's the same way we look at performance. It's the same way we look at a workshop. The same way we watch a dancer. We try to live in that moment. Just try to live in that moment. Stay there for a little bit, appreciate who you are, appreciate the journey, appreciate the people. Make sure you appreciate the people that's giving you something else that you might not have. You just got to do that. You got to do that more, do that often, and let the culture keep going. That's how we look at it. That's how we look at dance. It's almost like if you look at the ingredients of a cake individually, like you eat it, it's like flour. It's disgusting. You eat the other part of it, it's disgusting. And it's only good when you put it all together. It's only good when you put the cake together. Individually, it might not be good. You might be ripped. You might get a six-pack, but it doesn't taste the same. It's a little bit different. So that's the way we look at it. It's a crazy analogy, but that's the way we kind of look at it. And that's a little bit of our story. We're from the Funk Effects, 1980. That's why we're here. It started from there. David Vaughn, one of the greatest men we've ever known, took care of 15 little boys on his own with $120 a week to live. Bought us clothes, sold our clothes, made sure we were clean. One man, 15 people, 15 little boys. Had the nerve, the audacity to do all that and not even care about himself. In a one-bedroom apartment, bed on the floor, didn't care. Get up. He was 20 years old. So if he can do that for us, that's the only thing that we can offer to anyone else. And if it comes from just us dancing, if someone gets that from us dancing, that's a beautiful thing. They can get that from you while you're dancing. So that's why I don't like judging, to be honest. That's why I don't like judging contests that much. Because I don't like cutting people off. I want to see someone dance. I don't want to see them dance for a minute. Like I want to feel where they're coming from when they dance. So I'm just like, no, I don't like. I'd rather just watch them dance. I'd just rather go to the event and just watch them dance on the side. I just want to watch them dance. I don't want to give them a time limit. It's tough to give someone, you have a minute to do you. I mean, we do it, but I just like to see people move. I like to see people move and where they're coming from. My last story. We were doing a show in New York, and we were walking down, and this is how we came up with an idea to do one of our shows. We was walking down, and I think we was in Chelsea. And there was a sign that said, one-man show. One-man show. And you know, New York is so dope. Like, it's just so, you know, it was right at the end of the stairs, and I'm just like, one-man show, that's cool. And we weren't doing anything. I said, we should go check out this one-man show. Decided to go see this one-man show in this guy's apartment, right in Chelsea. And this older man, Jewish man, probably 80-something, had to be 80-something. He did a one-man show for like an hour and a half about the Holocaust. One part of it, he like danced a little bit in his way of, as an 80-year-old man, his way of dancing, but the way that it led up to the dance was stunning. And I don't think he moved more than this. And I'm not exaggerating, it's an older man. I don't think he moved more than this. But everything that came up before that movement was so incredible. We left almost feeling guilty. We was performing at the Highline Ballroom. We felt guilty. I'm like, so we're going to do a 5-minute performance after we watched a man do a performance about the Holocaust for an hour and a half by himself. We have to dig deeper. That has to be one of our goals. Yeah, 2012. I said we have to dig deeper. We have to be able to dig deeper. If he can do that, his story is so important, it's so beautiful and touching and sad. I said, we have to reach. We got to reach. So reach. Continue to reach inside the dance, inside yourself, and just let go. That's my story.
telling y'all, like, just listening is like transformational. And it's crazy how frequency works, because, you know, we've been having a lot of conversations like a friend group about artistry within the competition, you know, and a lot of the performances that me personally, like I've been putting together, have been calling for something different. And, you know, a big inspiration for my sets is y'all, because I watched y'all show, you know, and I appreciated the nuances, like tying in like all of these sound bits and references from different things. And I can, when you said like, make your elders proud, like I can see that in the show.
And that's what we do before each show. Me and Billy are peeking through the curtains, and we're trying to see the oldest person there. And we see it, we're like, okay, you got to touch that person. If that person's not crying at the end of our show, we didn't do it right.
Wow.
So we're focused on that, the oldest person. We love the young people, but when the oldest person comes through the door, we're like, that's him, that old person right there. We gotta get there. Some type of
response from the elder. It's just, we sense it as we're doing it for our mom. This is the way we do it, you know. You get the elder. They don't have to be there. So if an elder comes up to see street dance, he's much older, that's our way of paying homage to someone who's been there, who's been here longer than us and been through things that we've never been through. So that's always the goal.
God. Incredible. Incredible. It's intentional. And, you know, we're all seeing and feeling this need for a shift, you know, because we can fall into things and habits and structures, and, you know, we kind of make our own infrastructure as we go, all these like arrangements. And I feel like right now we're all calling for people to think deeper, you know, to see more artistry, to take more risks. And I think that, you know, that's something that stands out about all of the brands and the people that are sitting here. So I'll shift it over to Rashaad. You know, Rashaad has a series called A Story to Tell, you know, where he's bringing in, like, not only, you know, teaching just the movement of the dance or even just the history of the dance, but, you know, like the history of his family. You know, interviewing his mom, his cousin, you know, his daughters, his partner, like his wife, you know what I mean? And all of the context around that and how that feeds the artistry or the spirit that translates into the artistry. So talk a little bit more about Soulmatic, your initiatives, you as a father, a black man, an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
How much time?
How much time we got? You said 6:30?
6:30.
Wow. Let me start with Sunday mornings, oldies but goodies. The OJs, Blue Magic, the Dells, the Delphonics, the Emotions, Billy Stewart. My father's making like the typical American breakfast, right? The pancakes, the eggs, the sausage, we know what it is. But for him with the pancakes, it was like 6 stacks. Just like, there's so many pancakes, I'm not gonna eat all of this. He didn't break it apart with the flour and stuff. It was just cake. And you walk out the room and my mom's dancing. My mom's called Niecy. First name's Niece. My dad is Goat. People call him Charlie Goat. And it was so special. So that that moment or those moments I carry like really heavy. In my dance, people often ask me, yo, you're so soulful, you're so funky. And you haven't seen my peoples get down. You haven't seen my mom. Like, for me, the best dancer ever. And there's no comparison. I don't care what you say. She's such a free spirit. She look you in your eye. She lift the leg, hey, all right now. Like, and I think that catapulted me into what I do today. Soulmatic is really interesting because my favorite artist is Nas. Not only because of his music, but because of where he's from. My father was born in Bricktown, which is in Jamaica, Queens. He moved when he was 4 to Long Island City, Queensbridge in particular, the largest housing projects in the States. And I'm definitely my father's child. We were going through some old pictures last night. Y'all can see it, like I look just like this dude. But his story is really special to me because he was a gifted kid. He was an artist, sang, he danced, visual artist. He was also a boxer. But as a kid, so I was born in Queensbridge. I lived there till I was about 4 or 5. Moved uptown to Harlem, to a place called Ralph J. Rangel Houses. We called it Colonial. It's right by the very famous Rucker Park. Anybody knows street basketball? That's directly across the street from my elementary school, PS 46. Moved from there back to Queens. But I was always in Long Island City. My aunts were there. My grandmother lived in Astoria houses. My aunties are in Ravenswood. So I was just constantly in that area. Junior high school, 204. And my father's story, he was at some point got addicted to drugs, to alcohol. He's been sober for 35 years now, super dope. And that had everything to do with my mom saying, you know what, I'm not gonna have my kids being raised around this man. She moved us at the age of 4, so it changed his life to see his family disappear. And so he had to change his life. I would go with him to the meetings all the time. Hi, my name is Charles, I'm alcoholic. And he have to give his testimony. He had to admit and be accountable for all the wrong that he did to himself and the harm that he created in his community, to the point where people started to respect him and revere him so high that he's almost like the chosen mayor for Queensbridge houses, right? When he walks through, everybody stops to say what's up to Charlie Go. And I'm 6, 7, 8 years old walking with this man, like I don't get that fully. But something is, speaker just went on. But something is permeating, something is resonating deep with me. Nas's first album is Illmatic. My first company alone is Soulmatic. My old crew, which I'm a founding member of, Assassins. In my tattoo, I put the Nas font, the N, the A, the S, you can see it. In my first popping event, which was the Book of Styles, I took it from the Godson album, The Book of Rhymes by Nas. Everything I've ever done was so centered around his artistry, but mostly because he talked so much about his father. He talked so much about his mom, where he's from, and I'm like, damn, that's me. This connects. My family's really big into our genealogy. So on the Minton side, which is my my paternal, but my granny side, right? Her dad, my great-grandfather. He has a brother named Henry Edward Minton. And Henry started a jazz club in Harlem called the Minton's Playhouse. And this place was started in the 30s. I think it's on 114th Street. I forget the cross street right now, but it's in Harlem. He had it for about 5 years before they say the story is that the mob ran him out, extortion, this whole thing. He went back to live with his brother, went blind, but he was teaching everyone in my family how to play jazz music. This club was known for jazz music. He created a space for artists like Illuminus Monk, Charlie Parker, just to name a couple, to come in the late hours, off contract, and just play, no time limit, all right? There was no minute, just play, just jam, have sessions, jam sessions at the Playhouse. And although I didn't see this club as a kid, that energy connected generation to generation, and it got to me. So Soulmatic carries this. Bebop music was created in that club. Like, what? We would hear these stories all the time, but we were so little and disconnected from the space, we didn't really get to see this thing, but we could hear through the testimony of the elders in my family just how serious that was for them. They still talk about it. Every family reunion, they're bringing up the Minton's Playhouse, like the pride in that name is so real. So I'm like, okay, Soulmatic has to feel like that. Dance is great, but I like to dress. I like to purchase some things. I like to make things. I'm really into creating multidisciplinary, as Haya said. So I wanted, with my partner, my wife, Rina, to create a space that facilitated the same thing. When I came here, I want to say the first time, but it wasn't, but the first time deeply connecting with Stackin Stylez 2019, I saw that. I was like, yo, he's got us in his living room doing a panel discussion. His son's running around, like, you know what I'm saying? It's part of me, it's like, you want some water? Like, nah, she's like, help yourself, you home, black man. Like, help myself, you mean going to your fridge? Ain't no way. You know, that's a rule, you ain't going to nobody's fridge. But I felt so comfortable in a way that I hadn't felt before in a dance community setting. It felt like home, it felt like family. Actually, it felt very similar to, I have my sister here, Deanna Monet. We met years ago. We were in the same company for a long time, same crew. Now we're in a really different, dope new space. It's super exciting to be working together again, but it was the same. When I met her, she was 15, and her mom, Karen, her dad, and it was like that same type of hospitality going into their space and just offering, like, yo, this is your home. When you coming back again? So I wanted to facilitate that for Soulmatic. Like, it's not about dance, it's about people. And how can we relate to each other? We just use what we know as the medium. That's what we have the most control in. The thing that we've obsessed about for a lot of years. But when we put that down, then what are we? Right? The dance doesn't make me. It's what I put in the dance that makes the dance special. I think that's why people like the shit, you know? But that has everything to do with my mom, my pops, my mommy number 2, as we called her, my big sister Shauna, my brother Yamo introduced me to Wu-Tang, Deanna's family, Stax's family, Monster, you know, I met your mom, right? Like, it's to sit and like, I see your mom, like, what? You just introduced me to your brother? This is crazy. I feel like I connect with them even more, and I feel like we all feel that way about your favorite artists. Once you start knowing their backstory, the context, the substance in them, you're like, whoa, I like this person even more. And you follow them, you go deeper. It's not the dance, it's not the music, it's not the clothes, it's how you wear it, it's why you wear it, you know what I'm saying? So, now I'm a father, and I try to create, I'll see you put this father thing on, but I try to create those same experiences for my daughters. I have 2. One is 15, her name is Ayana. The youngest is Malaya, and she's 11. And I want to say that they're a handful, but they're not. They are the easiest girls to raise. In fact, I feel like they're raising me. They're so wise. They carry this really interesting aura that once you're around them, it's infectious to laugh, it's infectious to let go. You feel like you're being taken care of somehow. They have this foresight of the world that is impeccable. So yeah, I don't think I'm raising them. My mom said something in an interview, story to tell, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. And I asked her, what is it like to be a black mother in the world? She said, I never thought about being a mother. And the more she started to talk, she got to this point of having us at a really young age. And I think she had my sister when she was 18 or 19, I forget. I'm the baby of the 3 of us, so she had me a bit later. But she said the same. I don't really feel like I raised y'all. I feel like I grew up with y'all. Like y'all were my best friends. And then she started breaking down, and I was like, oh, the tears, here it goes. A couple of tears came out. But it was so honest. Whoa, you grew up with us. She didn't put herself here because I'm mom, right? Like she saw me and saw us like eye to eye. I'm learning this thing about life with you. And me and my mom are like, I'm a mama's boy, right? I'll talk about her all day. But I think that type of tone that she set, I try to recreate with my daughters as a father. How gentle I can be, and to be a conversationalist with them. Ask them questions. Let them lead the way, stand back. Let them make those mistakes, let them win. Like, you don't have to live vicariously through them. I do my best to not you're gonna be a dancer. I had that question asked to me in Montreal last week from so many people who were like, yo, did you ever think your daughters would dance because you dance? I was like, never, and I never forced them to. It was just around. It seemed like it was normal for them to just do it. My oldest is really into it. I'm sure y'all seen clips, people who follow. The youngest is the surprise one. She'll pop out and hit some moves. She'll be creeping in the house. And if you ever ask her, yo, you want to jump in the session? She'll be like, no. She'll go back to watching the tablet and whatever she's looking at on YouTube. But she knows so much. There's so much information that she's taken in. Both of them are musicians, singers. They arrange music. Like, where do y'all find the time to do all this stuff? So I try to just make sure that Soulmatic is about a holistic experience of culture and people and feels and art and just design, develop. Who do I want to be tomorrow? I love that y'all pointed out that in 20 years when you get gray hair, you'll probably be even better then, right? When things start to settle, we know what it's like when you eat marinated food and you let that joint sit for 24, 48 hours, 3 days, you like, I don't know what's in it, but it tastes good. And I feel like that's the same thing, like when you get more and more mature in the craft that you do and the people that you want to digest this thing with, like it just, I don't know what it is, but I love this thing and shit's great. So I could probably talk more. I feel like I'm on a podcast right now. But yeah, Soulmatic, what I do is about the people. Yeah, it's about us coming together in a real way. Not that phony shit.
Straight up. Thank you. Following along the same topics of discussion and, leaning more into what you brought up earlier about, discovering we've been talking about perception all weekend. We were talking about perception last night in the car, like 4 in the morning. I don't know why we did that. It was just not the thing to do during the festival, but it was healing. But you went into this world of work, and this is like something that perception-wise, they like, in a sense, they push it, and without asking, everybody thinks that's like the place that we need to go. You know, in subtle ways, the way that we even talk about it, you know, a lot of people ask me, like, in order for me to be successful in the dance, like, I have to be associated with Hollywood in some way. Even though, like, I'm here, like, building in the community, you know what I'm saying? We're all, like, community builders. We're working with the youth. Like, I feel like that's, like, real superhero stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you went into this world, and you know, you discovered, you broke through the perception, and I want to lean into perception because you mentioned something in your class the other day that I like, it was just sticking with me. It was like, you know, be boys, be girls, you know, there's no be days yet, right? Like, be days, right? Like, I feel like you're a person who breaks the binary. You know, like when you work, you're breaking through some of these things that want to hold on tight, some of these things that may not be as healthy for us, and like you're literally breaking through the perception. You know, like people, like you have this long list of accolades, and you're probably like, I don't even really rock with none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel more comfortable in settings like this, where we're having wholesome conversations. So lean into that in terms of yourself as an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? As a B-girl, like the artist, the movement artist.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for seeing that in me. That means a lot. I appreciate you for I think I had an interesting conversation with some friends maybe a year ago, and one of my friends was like, I just think it's so cool that you made your own path. Like, you didn't care, you just made your own path, and it was like a congratulations kind of, and it was actually my other friend that stopped her and was like, it wasn't by choice, she had to. You know, and so I think sometimes we see somebody making their own path and we're like, oh my God, great for you. And it's like, yes, and it's sometimes you wish you could just take the path that's already cut out. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're like trudging through the trenches, like getting whipped in the face by trees and stumbling on rocks and all of that. And you wish that you could just, there was a nice path, but with some water that went to the same spot. And so it's really one of those things where I moved to LA very green. Like, I didn't know how to do my makeup. I didn't know what a headshot was. My first headshots were my friend literally taking a picture of me on a street corner, and we got them printed, and I like crashed a Step Up audition. And so I went in thinking that it was going to be all the music videos that I saw and all our favorite dance movies that we used to watch. And that's like this polished, finished thing that we don't see what happens behind that, or what it takes to get to that, or all the harm that happens to present kind of one representation of something. And so me being somebody that doesn't fit into traditionally what a female dancer in the industry looks like, really made me question. I went through a period where I almost tried to do that, and then it very much wasn't me, and I didn't do that, and then I went through a period where it almost pushed me to like feel like I needed to be more masculine to then fit the other side of the binary because I didn't fit this like high femme one. And so it took a while for me to resettle into an identity that I had prior to getting to LA that I feel like got really shaken when I got to LA and I was told what I was supposed to look like, what I was supposed to dance like. They don't really love B-girls, so like B-boys make more sense in their mind. Girls, especially now, are very like in heels, were oftentimes in the music video to like be the love interest or the attraction or the sexual energy for the artist that's there. And so this is like not the case across the board, right? This is just kind of the general feeling. You know, I was in a movie in Boston actually, and it became kind of like my biggest accolade when people would introduce me and like read through my bio and pick what to pull out. It's a movie called Spirited, and it had Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell in it. It was a dance movie, and it was honestly, the worst experience I've had on a job. Like the contracts they had us on, there was no overtime. There wasn't a lot of protection around dancers in that we were used for background, we were used for singing, we were given like roles with speaking parts with no bumps, no ads. We were working like 15-hour days with a 15-minute lunch and a 15-minute breakfast and a 30-minute lunch. And it was just like we were the lowest on the totem pole every time we stepped on set. You know, and it's so crazy because that would have been, if you told like 5-year-old me, like, these are the things you're gonna do and one of them's gonna be in a movie and you're gonna be on the big screen, I would have been so excited, you know, just to find that like you said, I get way more fulfillment being in the community and way more fulfillment at events like this where I get the time and space to actually connect with people, and it's not just about the product and the outcome. And honestly making something look good for somebody else. And so there's a lot of layers. It's like the contracts and then being a woman in the industry and all the things, but it just got to a point where I was sticking to the dance that I wanted to do and sticking to the way that I wanted to present myself, and I was, you know, carving a path, but I was like, is this even the path that I want to carve? Like, if I'm gonna work this hard, is this what I want to be working this hard for? And I think it just very clearly, the answer became no. And so, you know, it's still jobs, there's still work, there's still some stuff I'll pick up, but in the last like 2-3 years, because during this time I was still connected to the community. And in the last 2-3 years, it just really became clear that I wanted to be where I felt seen and appreciated, where I felt like I was learning and I was seeing and appreciating the people around me, and I was surrounding myself with people that I looked up to, that I wanted to be like, and not people that I was constantly like, ooh, if I ever get to your position, I don't want to do that, you know? And that was part of creating Omega too, was just to like reconnect and find community, make it about the people. Like Omega is very much not, I know there's some people in here that have taken it or seen it, but Omega is very much not about a finished product or an output or creating the world's best dancer that's gonna win every battle, and much more about connecting and feeling safe in a space to explore and play and try new things, and literally come as you are and be able to be celebrated, not just like seen or tolerated, but actually celebrated as the person that you are. And so people now, like it was online during the pandemic, and now people are continuing to see each other out in the world in different areas. They travel together now to different events. We used to have like happy hour where we would literally just get on Zoom, and everyone would bring a drink and we would just talk and chat, and it wasn't even about dance. But yeah, I really got to a point where I was like, it's the people that mean more to me than the outcome or the accolade or the resume or any of these things that in the end don't really get you anywhere anyways, to be honest. It's like a little bit of like a cloud moment versus like a fulfilling thing. So, and that's not to knock anybody that's in the industry or going for the industry. I think there's ways to do it. It just really wasn't for me, and I wanted to be able to keep my art authentic to myself and not sacrifice my art in order to fit it into this world. And I think there's people that their authentic art fits into that world, and that's fine. But I was feeling like I was kind of hitting my head against a brick wall when all these beautiful doors were actually open around me that I didn't need to be doing that for. So, yeah, that's kind of the gist of appearance of that world versus like reality. But I think also the more that we lean into and choose community, the more that we can create livable careers off of giving to the community, off of grants, off of supporting one another, off of, we kind of have this idea that that's where the money is and this is where it's just like, I don't know, fun or even financial struggle is. And I think if we all decide that that's not it, and we move our focus over here into the community, we can create a livable world. We can actually start to produce high-level things like what's being produced over here that are more authentic, that are more true, that are more representative of the actual culture. But that takes us choosing to put, and all of you chose to come here today, right? Like, that's incredible. It's choosing to put into the local jams, to travel to other cities' jams to support as much as we support the Nike brands and the big movies and the this and that and the video games and all of that, right? So in a capitalist world, our biggest power is where we choose to put our money, you know? So yeah, that's my last
one. 1,000%. I feel the same way. I can relate to like a lot of what you're saying. That perception is it's a funny thing, and I find myself like when I'm deep into my laboratory thinking about what to create next, like it's always like breaking the perception. Because you find yourself like in really weird situations, like let's say like, you know, I introduce you like, oh yeah, you're from this movie. You're like, ah, like I don't even want that to be associated with that. You know, for me, a lot of, I feel like I exist in the middle of a lot of worlds. You know, like my purpose for doing this. Like I remember last year, there was a young dancer who named Xavier who came to me and was like, yo, you know, I was waiting for a moment to be able to tell you, but you know, I have like a lot of trauma around dance items, and I feel like Stackin Stylez like healed, like brought me closer to healing, being here and having this experience. Like, and you know, we had a moment. I was sitting there looking at him like, that is the why. You know, and I sit between worlds because like I've been in the background, you know, like working and collaborating with companies like a Red Bull, you know, and I've watched, you know, like I just wrote a post about, you know, people coming to like workshops and just like showing up. A lot of people's like, oh, you need a marketing strategy, boom, boom. I'm like, okay. You know, but I've watched like companies like Red Bull like drop a flyer a day before, and then all of a sudden like all these people show up out of the woodwork. Of course they have like a marketing team, and, you know what I'm saying? And I watched people kind of look past the real work that I'm doing and you know, put me on a pedestal because of my relationship with these entities, you know? And all I've been saying over and over for many years with Stackin Stylez is that like, we are the it, the people are the it. Like, we are the thing that we're looking for. And we just have to really like rock with each other, you know? So like, I don't have a marketing strategy because I feel like marketing strategy is a community effort. Do you love this thing? Do you love these people? You know, like let's put that forward, you know, and it exposes a lot. So like I have a tough relationship with perception, you know, as I'm trying to grow this brand, You know, it's funny the things that checks the boxes for different collaborative partners or different people. Like if I want to grow this event and get funding for this event, there's certain things that checks the boxes that doesn't even really correlate with the mission of what, or like the impact of what we really do. You know, so you can have somebody come to your event and see this transformation, but if it's not associated with this thing, or if it doesn't check this box, if there's not 1,000 people there, it wasn't really impactful. You know, so I'm always calling for people to break through that perception and really like acknowledge their role in community. And I think it's beautiful, the relationship, you know, moving into higher, the relationship that you have with your community, because, you know, I'm, you know, very connected to Montreal. I have relationships with a lot of people there. And anytime that I tap into the North, you know, it's like everybody is on par. And I know it wasn't probably always like that for you, but like, I think it's beautiful how the community wraps their arms around this thing that they know that you made, but they know it's theirs. They show up like, this is Montreal's event. Like, I'm calling out of work this entire week because this is our event. If someone's not there, are you kidding me? You're not going to Joe? You're not going to our event? The energy that, like, when someone from Montreal dances at the event, like, I mean, they give love to everybody. Montreal is known for that type of, like, that hype, the way, like, it's one of the hypest. That's correct. Energetic, like it's just such a beautiful space, you know, but, like, I can see the passion that they have for the people from their city. They're like, yo, when the J-Style gets up on the stage, they're like, yeah, it's Montreal. They might have battles in inner city, you know, where it's like, oh, so, I battle against this person, I don't like this, but whatever. They might have, but when they're on stage, like, Montreal's like, yeah, it's Montreal versus everybody. And I really admire that. It's beautiful, you know? So talk about, you know, this beautiful space that you created that I feel like is evolving what these dance events can be, you know? Like, a lot of people do have a lot of trauma with battles. You know, when they talk about battles, like, I don't like dance battles, I don't like the battles. And I don't think it's the battles per se. I think it's our perception. I think it's the people, the people who are just throwing things together without intention and not being responsible with creating space. I think this space is a beautiful opportunity to create transformation, and that's something that Andy does incredibly. So I'll let you speak about Jack of all trades, but not only the event and the success now, but like what you had to do to get it to where it's at. Like I was in Montreal the other week, and I was like, you're not gonna work.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out and we're gonna talk about Pharrell versus Timberland. You know what I'm saying? Until like 3 o'clock in the morning, like on the street corner, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna live, we're gonna enjoy ourselves as people who really work. You know, we work our asses on it. Yeah, I'll let you speak.
Yeah, and know that that you're highly appreciated for that. I spoke to Rashaad about that, and that day when you came through Montreal, I was like exhausted, still needed to do a lot of work, but yeah, it gave me energy. You know, I felt like it healed, or at least it gave me a bit of just some positive energy that I needed at that time, and that Ford also needed at that time. Ford is a person that does also a lot of work in our community. Specifically in the neighborhood that I come from, Saint Michel, and thank you for that. Seriously, your presence helped a lot. To talk about Montreal, Montreal has a strong connection to Black American communities, just in the starting point, you know, like if you go to Lower Burgundy, which is a neighborhood in the southwest of Montreal, a lot of Black Americans would get there, either talent, music, community, dancers, and I know that like when the bands were, or the musicians were traveling north, one of their last stop was Montreal. So Montreal always had this strong connection with Black American culture, Black American communities. And that, I think, also expresses this love that we have for this Black American culture, in Montreal. Yes, mainly from the Caribbean, but it's always been there, connected in our city. Montreal also, or more Joe, stands on the shoulders of a lot of initiative that existed before. Like there was War's War that was there before, which was a big breaking event that regrouped a lot of the community, even though the people were not all B-boys or B-girls, but everybody would be there. Bust a Move, which is an important event where Joe was fully inspired by Bust a Move, by the energy of Bust a Move, and what Spicy did. That was from 2005 to 2015. And for sure, when it comes to this celebration specifically, it just mirrors the community. The community has always had this energy, quite similar to Crump, quite similar to, we like to hype each other, whether if you're a pop or a locker or so forth and so on. Also, we were a small community. We started small and then we grew gradually, and I think that too is the reason why we're so tight-knitted. And when it comes to the celebration of Joe, as an artistic director of this proposition, for me, the most important thing wasn't the battle. The most important thing was, all right, how can I create this experience that makes it that the dancers come out of it inspired? What can I set up? When it was simply a battle, do I bring my hypest people from my community around the stage just so they can give a lot of energy? It's still somewhat orchestrated. Before the jam starts, I'll tell the host, tell the regular people to get off the stage, and it's sad because people get irritated about that, but I tell them, get away from the stage and bring the street dancers close to the stage because they understand what it is to dance on that stage, what it is to battle, and they are ready to give you all the energy necessary for you to feel comfortable, for you to feel confident. And I remember Nikki, he shared a story because we had a conversation, and verbatim, I said something to him around something like, yeah, in Montreal, our goal is it's not about winning or losing. We want to see you do your best. So we don't really care if you win or you lose. The reason why we cheer so much is just we want you to be confident. We want to see the best out of you. That's all, So that's the reason why that energy is like that in the battle, but also as in the other stuff that we do around the battles, I think is the most important part. It's like, okay, let's create a space where we can have a block party. Let's create a space where people can meet. Let's have some music. Let's have some parties. Let's have, some visual art. Let's have other things where we don't have to be in this duality, one against each other, but we can actually be in celebration and appreciate each other in propositions that are just like out of battle. And when it's time to battle, we'll still be in something that is I'll find a word. Celebration like. I almost said something in French. Celebration. Celebration like. And the thing about Montreal being tightly knitted together is I think it wasn't always like that. I think it started like that, then eventually we went to an era where I think everybody was like trying to do their own thing. Egos got into places and insecurities and so forth and so on. And to realize that the funding bodies like the Quebec Art Council, the Montreal Art Council, the Canadian Art Council, all those big spaces and places that have money for the arts were not giving money to street dance. And we had to sit down and talk to each other, like, all right, we need to stop being against each other and we need to work together, and support each other. So that means that if forward movement is doing something, trust me that that Montreal Crump Alliance and Joke and Ebb and Flow from Spicy and Solix from Ebony will support that, and vice versa. Like everybody is in a consensus of, all right, we all support each other. We all walk together. If somebody makes a move forward, like we all support that. And be like, yeah, that's the thing right now at the moment. So Solix will have their festival in November. The whole community, all the different companies will support that. And because of that, then I think, well, I don't think I know that that's what unlocked a lot of things for us, as in trying to get some funds and getting supported, because we moved as a unit. You know, we put our ego aside and we realized there's enough space for everybody. Even though Montreal is a small island, there's enough space for every company, for everybody to just have their own little piece of that space, right? Yeah, so on those lines. I guess that's keep it short.
You keep saying incredible, sensational, unbelievable, fantastic, bombastic. I'm just inspired. I don't know how y'all feeling, you know what I'm saying? I feel super inspired. I think that, you know, I had a lot of nerves coming in, but, you know, life has a way of like always, at least in my personal testimony, bringing me back to freestyle. You know, I try to plan, like I'll be like, I'm gonna be hard ahead of this, and I'm gonna try to, and then the way the life be moving, it be the weirdest things, and Mina know, because Mina's with me all day. Just like experiencing the craziness of the most crazy. And, you know, we got here today, and I'm like, man, we kind of have to freestyle a little bit. But this is Stackin Stylez, the freestyle culture event and brand. And it always comes out better. It always comes out more honest, more genuine, and maybe it doesn't have the timing and the structure part down to a T, where it's like, you know, we on the time clock, we ended at the right time. But, you know, somehow we always leave like super inspired. So I want to take just another moment to thank y'all for sharing our testimony.